Hello and welcome to In the Circle Ministries, our YouTube channel ministry today. Want to come out and bring hopefully some good words out today that's going to help you out. We're going to pull it up under the microscope and make our singular eye plural, and we're going to make our body full of light. So for conversation, we're going to be talking about the consciousness. Some may refer to, or I refer to it as God, or the universe, the and the all, etc. and etc. But so we start off with the conscious. We have a conscious, a place where thought is at, or that we have first knowledge or first knowing of thought. It's inside of our own consciousness. Um, Now, what happens with the thought after it comes in there? Um, it depends upon what whatever the thought is and what you do with the thought. A lot of times, the thoughts that are not our own thoughts, because we have in the kingdom, or the kingdom of heaven, or in our consciousness, um, there's I'm going to say there's like two bodies. Paul speaks about warring between the two, in his members. So in his conscious, there was always another conscious there. So we have to understand that there's not just one conscious. There's consciousness are everywhere. Um, Physical conscience, spiritual conscience. Other people have their own conscience, and whatever else that we give power or authority to becomes a conscience, or a governing body in a sense. But we're going to just deal with the physical and with the spiritual for now. So, like I say, he has the two. He have a spiritual consciousness that speaks about things that are a lot of times confusing or contrary to the other physical. Um, the things of the spirit don't make sense to the things of the flesh. You know, darkness don't comprehend the light. Things you hear over and over like that in the Bible, and parables spoken like that, or in sense like that. So when we're dealing with the what I call the God conscious, or the higher consciousness, or the Christ consciousness, what allows me to be God, and what identifies me as God, is something that is me that isn't me. It's a part of me that's always been in existence before this body became alive and came through the matrix. Um, so it's connected to the Almighty conscience. It is a I am a construct of God, being God, living and expressing throughout my body. You are God, living as God as an abstract throughout your body. The only way the world gets to see the likeness and image of God is the one that your body is in, and how you conduct yourself in character and things of that nature, and how you perceive yourself and conduct yourself amongst others. Uh, so this is the likeness and image that we were all made in God imagery, whereas we didn't have no design, or we didn't have no hands in the making of this body. It was not made by man's hands in every sense of the way, even though we come through the physical sense of lovemaking or sex. Put it that way, we come through sex. It's not a temple made by physical hands, and the design makeup of it is the likeness and image of God. This is why we should not make any other grade images or try to reconstruct any other grade images. That is something on our lower selves, or our other consciousness, our physical consciousness. So our spiritual consciousness is what we want to grow into, and it produces the character, the intellect, the conduct, and all the attributes in the being of the individual. And um, as we work in self mastery, um, these are some of the things that we become aware of and be conscious of and try to work and deal with. So we understand that the thoughts that come that are above the other thoughts that may cause the confusion, a lot of times are the thoughts that we've asked for. We've, in a sense, say we prayed for. something that's happening in our life that causes us to want to change in an area, some way, shape, form, or fashion, no matter what the situation that might have brought about the occurrence. But there's an event that happened that caused about a want to change, it brought about a curiosity, brought about a, wanting a different results, and started a search. And the conscience, the God conscience, is there to produce all these things because it has a plan and a desired purpose that we was already designed to do before we got here. So it's given um, precedent whether we know it or not, and it's operating. And a lot of times, not knowing that is what causes the detriment. So once we do decide to want to understand more and get a change and have a different results, and then we begin to pray outwardly, I would say pray inwardly. Don't pray outwardly asking for a result, but pray inwardly asking for the different results or the change or the desire that need to be. Um, so understanding that from the consciousness we have thoughts, and those thoughts that are introduced to us, that are brought, are not the same way we have now in our physical. And I hope you stay with me as I flip flop, and I'll do my best to keep you abreast with it. But when we go through the physical, it only can um, it produces a thought, but that thought can be traced all the way back to the source. It can be traced back to a book you read, a show that you watch. It can be traced back to a conversation you had. It could be a conversation you had in your upbringing, the way you was taught, you was raised. There's always a source of origin that you can go back to and find the beginning of that thought. And this is where most of our problems and things are that reside in us that we have and we wrestle with a lot of times. We're not wrestling with the spiritual thoughts. We're wrestling with the lower thoughts, the carnal thoughts, the physical thoughts. As Christ said, the thoughts that are from below. He's not from below. He's from above. But anyway, those thoughts are problems, and right there, those problems where they begin, or where you can trace it back to the source of origin, you're going to find your solution. That's where the beginning of, or the answer for all the problems that you have in that realm, or the origin of them. So, um, when we can see the difference in between those thoughts and the production of those thoughts by trying to trace them back down to the origin of thought. And when we can get back to the origin of thought, where we don't know where that thought come from, but we are familiar with that place, where we can't identify it, but we can definitely speak with a confidence that we know, because it's a knowing that we have. Everyone has it. It just is. That's that God consciousness that speaks, and what Christ said in one of the in the Bible too, that it bears witness of itself, and He bears witness of Himself, and Him that sent Him bears witness of Him that was sent. So we bear witness in ourselves. The truth bears witness within us, even though if the lower self doesn't get it. Anyway, to working in between the two and dealing with self mastery, we eliminate a lot of those lower problems, or those lower thoughts, and those lower results of not getting what we want, or not having the desired results we thought we would have. And that's throughout with life and relationships or whatever. I'm speaking in a big general sense. I'm not just speaking to a direct, for say, conversational audience, but in all within yourself. Um, so we can be free in our mind. We can clear our conscience, and we can alleviate a lot of those issues and problems by working on the spiritual and allowing those things to take place and trying to grow in those places, and meditating on those thoughts that are introduced to us that wasn't created in our own conscious from other things. We can take those things from our other conscious, and what we should do, and what I do, is take them and I compare them with the conscious of no origins. When I bring it back to the God conscious and examine it with the truth, that's putting it up under the light, putting it up under the microscope, and allowing it to be tested, and seeing the results and taking the results for what they are. So, like I say, I've been through life. I've done a lot of things. I once was a drug addict, was addicted to cocaine, so I can speak about that. And talk about the ins and outs. I can't speak about everyone's experience, but I can speak about my experience with a full confidence in it, and saying that I know the results, I know the outcome, and I know the difference of being on it and being on it after it. I know what it's like before, after, doing, and I can tell you that it profits nothing. If you're able to grow past yourself and your own conscious and your own physicalness, and you can defeat it and whatever else it is. Whether if it's crack, if it's heroin, whether if it's cigarettes, whether it's your own thinking, whatever it may be, whatever your consciousness that you cling to, it'll produce that. So that's what I'm saying about that. And I knew that I wasn't going to always be bound to it. I wasn't always going to be a slave to it. I knew I was going to be set free from it, and nobody else could set me free from it but myself and the God within inside of myself, and the abstract and that consciousness of God within me. Um, but anyway, so being able to examine thoughts coming through life and your own experiences, and having a new process of thought that's